Hello and welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and it gives me great pleasure to be surrounded by such an august audience here with all of the heads of the Divine Nine, most of them, I should say, of the Divine Nine, the historically Black college and university sororities and fraternities. Hello there to Reuben Shelton. Thank you so much, Mr. Grant Polmark, for joining us of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity.
Hey, it's good to be with you again. I think the last time we did this, Tom was on his deck, or I believe, wasn't it?
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Tom did join us as a good Omega man would, from another place. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's right.
And speaking of good Omega man, hello to you, Ricky Lewis, Grand Basilisk of Omega Psi Phi fraternity. Welcome.
Hello, Sybil. Good afternoon from beautiful, warm Los Angeles, California.
All right, rub it in. Rub it in. Okay. Not mad at you, sir.
Good to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for joining us. We're going to have a great time today. And I should say that we are here to inform and empower here on It's Sybil. And I have the most important people who can help us in that effort. And we are talking about voting. As we know, the midterm election is taking place in just a matter of days on November 8th. This, I have said it again and again and again, this could be the very most important election that we have in our lifetimes. And we are here to invite and encourage to inform and empower you. And also joining us today is Rashida Liberty. She is the International Grand Basilisk of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority and Chair of the Council of Presidents. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's great to see you. We played phone tag at the CBC, the Congressional Black Caucus, as I'm sure many of us have. But thank you so much for taking the time, ladies and gentlemen. And speaking of taking the time, Dr. Stacy Grant is the Grand Basilisk of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority. Hello, how are you?
I'm excellent, Sybil. I mean, our stock went up. We're hanging out with you. Thank you so much for having us today.
Oh, well, my stock is way high. So thank you so much. I'm grateful to be in your company. Dr. Willis Lonzer III, General President of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity and Vice Chair of the Council of Presidents, the Pan-Hellenic Council. How are you, sir?
Fine, Sybil. So glad to be with you. And I am elated to be in your presence and have just been a longtime fan and supporter of all that you do. So let's have some fun today.
I absolutely adore that. Thank you so much, sir, for your time.
Indeed.
And I know that you two are basking in the warmth of California, and we appreciate your taking the time today.
Thank
too.
you. This is this hotel room is very posh and quite warm, as California is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, we'll try to make it as cool as possible. And we have the coolest of them all. We have Honorable Chris Ray, the National President of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity. Hello, sir. How you doing? It's good to see you again.
It is always good to see you, Sybil, and of course, always good to hang out with my fellow presidents. And of course, I'm not in sunny Cali, but I'm over here in North Carolina, where it's not that warm out here right now.
Well, I appreciate your taking the time to join us. We're going coast to coast here, obviously. And last and certainly not least, we welcome Elsie Cook Holmes, National President of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Welcome, Madam President. How are you?
I'm well. How are you, Sybil? It is great to be here with you. I, too, have been a longtime supporter, and I am saying hello from kind of more in the middle of the country, Plano, Texas, in the DFW area.
Well, I'll wave to you. You can probably see me. I'm in Fort Worth.
Exactly. That's pretty close to me. So yeah, I passed my vote today. So I'm excited.
Awesome. That is great. That's great. You got a day up on me. I'm kind of stuck in work mode, but I appreciate that. And I will get out there and join all the others doing our early voting duties there. All right. As I have said, we are here to talk about this important occasion in our lives. It really is. Midterm elections, as a rule, are very low turnout, very low interest elections. And we have seen how the tide has changed as of 2018. And now in 2022, the stakes are even higher, both on the local and the national level. And we want to talk to all of your members of your organizations and talk about the importance of this vote and what it means to you as well as to the rest of our country. So let's start with our friend. Let's see, we have Grant Polmark Shelton. Let's talk to you and to Dr. Grant and talk about why we should vote. If you all will hang in, and we will come back with the questions for you. But let's start there with Grant Polmark Shelton as well as President Grant. Let's talk about why we should vote. Should we go with ladies first?
Oh, that's fine.
Okay. All right. Dr. Grant, what do you think?
Well, it's imperative that we vote, especially that all of our organizations come from a history where we did not have a right to vote. And our ancestors fought for that right so that we could exercise the power in our voices and be able to impact change in our community. We must vote if we care about the transportation in our communities. We must vote if we care about healthcare. We must vote if we care about education. We must vote if we care about the pothole that you might travel over. Everything in life, politics is local. So there are a lot of folks who say, oh, I can't be bothered, or it doesn't matter. It matters. Some elections are won with a small margin of just 10 to 20 people. We must vote. This is not something that we can take as just a casual conversation. This is our right. And it is a privilege that we get to utilize because our foremothers and forefathers fought for us to have this opportunity to vote. So I don't understand anyone who says that they won't or they're not thinking about it. If you have a pulse, you must vote.
Polmark Shelton, you can't disagree with that, can you?
No, not at all. I wouldn't disagree with Dr. Grant on anything, to be honest with you. No, but she is absolutely correct. Here's the thing. If you want to have any type of influence over your life at all, you have got to go out and vote. I mean, we are a nation of laws. Our Constitution has set it up that way, whether it's the United States Constitution or the local bylaws that you have in your city and county. You know, we live by laws that are established, interpreted, and enforced by various individuals who are either elected or appointed by folks who are elected. I mean, take for instance, the legislators. Legislators create laws at all levels, whether it's the city council, state reps, senators, federal congressmen, senators, even school board members. Right? I mean, they influence our lives at some level, and they are elected. Judges are the ones who interpret the laws, and they are elected in many cities and states. They're either elected or they are appointed by mayors, governors, presidents who are elected. And then you have the executive branch that enforces all of the laws. They are elected. And you're talking about the prosecutors, the local sheriff's office, the police chief. They're either elected or they are hired by people like mayors, governors, et cetera, who are elected. So any way you cut it, you know, the folks who impact our lives the most, the ones who tell us what we can and cannot do, you know, what street you can go down one way or the other, they are all elected. And so it is important. And I could give you examples at every level why it is so important that you go out and vote, not only for the national offices like our congressmen and senators, but for your local offices as well, like school board members and prosecutors.
I think that we're at a time in our country where we're understanding that how the closer we are to those people on the ballot, the further down the ballot you get, the more important a lot of these races are for us on an individual and on a daily basis.
Oh, I could give. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Stacey.
No, but President Shelton, we're both passionate about this. So
yes, we are.
We're jumping in because it's that real when you talk about the proximity of the decisions that are made when we vote, when we put the right people who can advocate for the needs of our community, who can sit on the benches that are really impactful in the decisions that are made for young people, for civil court, for criminal court. There is so much that is involved with educating our communities. And that's what all of our organizations do. Not just telling you to vote, but educating you on why you should vote. And also giving you the background on the candidates you are voting for, so that when you arrive, you know clearly about the platform, about what they are saying that they will do, because we have to put them to the test when they
That's
get
right.
in
Hold
office,
them accountable. That's
and
right.
hold them accountable for the work. But you need to educate yourself on what is affected when you go and utilize your right to vote. So all of our organizations have voter information, we have campaigns, we have debates, we have town halls, so that we can invite candidates to speak to us, because the taxpayers' dollars are also decided on by the people we vote for. So if we're not actively involved in making sure that we put the right people in place, then we can't complain when we don't have access to the resources that are necessary to live a sustainable life in whatever community you are in across the United States.
That's right.
And if she's a member of Zeta Phi Beta, all the better for you. Running there. Or I should say, if he is a member of Kappa Alpha Psi.
There you
Is that
go.
not right, Grandpa Mark?
That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right.
So your organization, Grandpa Mark Shelton, is also involved, and you have these kind of debates, and you have the gatherings and information sessions as well?
Oh, sure, sure, absolutely. I mean, our three pillars are, we want to register, we want to educate, and we want to protect. So
Mhm.
we want to register as many people as we can to get them out to vote. Obviously, we want to educate the electorate, because they need to know what's out there. I mean, the average voter is probably not aware of all of the issues and all of the candidates that are on their local ballots, right? And so we try to educate them. And I give you a good example of how that impacts your local communities. Everybody probably remembers the Michael Brown situation that happened here in the St. Louis area, right? So the decision whether or not you're going to prosecute somebody for such an egregious act that happened in that case is made by the local prosecutor,
Mhm.
right? Wesley Bell, who is now our county prosecutor,
Right.
which governed over that situation, he is the first Black prosecutor in St. Louis County. He never would have gotten to that spot, unfortunately, but for the death of Michael Brown, because that raised the awareness. I mean, that raised the awareness of the electorate in St. Louis County. And then in an election where he was supposed to lose by 20 points, he won, because the members, the voters in St. Louis County, they rose and they said, we're not going to take this anymore, and we're going to put somebody in office who's going to be just and fair.
That is amazing. And not, of course, we know how our community responded to Michael Brown, but also in light of a recent school shooting, and talking about the use of guns and the ammunition that was involved and things like that, and who makes those on a legislative level in the state government. That goes a long way as people are getting ready to vote.
That's right.
Absolutely. And it's so important to engage the electorate. Zetas get engaged. So as we get engaged, we effectuate change by not only exercising our right to vote, but swaying campaigns. I'm from New York. New York, so nice.
Oh, come on now.
And we had the historic election of our mayor, Eric Adams.
That's right.
Which is something that proves that when we get involved, when we get engaged, we can have change. This is a historic time. Just in New York City, we have an African-American mayor, the Speaker of the House, another one of my good friends, Adrienne Adams, who is a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. She has that power seat. We have the Attorney General, Tish James, who is an African-American woman. We have the highest seats of power in the New York State Assembly, who are African-American women and men. This is how we move the needle forward towards justice. This is how we make sure that our voices are represented and that our communities don't continue to be disenfranchised. So when we vote, we shift policy. When we vote, we create change. And when we do it together, we're unstoppable. So we are working hard as a National Pan-Atlantic Council to activate every one of our members to not only use their right to vote, but to make sure everyone in their sphere of influence is going out and doing what our ancestors will be proud of.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. So I can't speak for you two, but I would like to get your input. As you have motivated us and given us your thoughts in such forceful and powerful ways. What motivates you in terms of music? We like to combine the entertainment as well as the education. And in terms of music, what motivates you? I was just thinking as you were saying there, President Grant, ain't no stopping us now. But if you all would like to share some a song or two that motivates you, I'd love to hear it.
Oh, celebrate good times.
Come on.
Oh, I'm telling you, my playlist is long, Sybil. So, you know,
That's
but
right.
one of the ones I'm thinking of is the oldie. I think it was James Brown. Get up off of that thing.
Come on,
That's
you're
right.
right.
Get up
I
off
love
of that
that.
thing.
I love that.
Vote. That's what we need you to do. And
That's
I can't wait to see you at your next step show. That's going to be awesome. Dr. Stacy Grant, International President of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, thank you so much. And to my old friend there, Grand Pole Mark, Ruben Shelton of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, and senior member of the Council of Presidents. It is great to see you all and to have you all here today. I appreciate your involvement, your enthusiasm, and your leadership. Thank you so much.
It's always a good time with you, Sybil. Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
You're being amazing, sis.
We love it. We love it, love it, love it. Let's get empowered, and we will change chairs here, little musical chairs, and we will be right back. All right, here we go. All right, awesome. And welcome back to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and I am once again surrounded by genius and greatness amongst the Divine Nine, the presidents, the leaders there of the Divine Nine sororities and fraternities. And let us welcome Dr. Willis Lonzer, the third Grand President of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated and Vice Chair of the Council of Presidents. Mr. President, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Sybil. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate your joining us. And the Grand Basileus of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, Mr. Ricky Lewis. President Lewis, how are you?
Great, Sybil. Good afternoon from Los Angeles. It's certainly good to be with you.
It's great to have you here. And I am no stranger to the wonderful men of Omega Psi Phi. We had to do some stepping of our own in the studio from time to time with one of your members, Tom Joyner.
That's right.
And congratulations to the National President of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Elsie Cook Holmes. Thank you so much for joining us, Madam President.
Hello, Sybil. It is great to be here with you this evening. And I bring greetings from Texas. I'm right up the road from you.
That's right. That's right. Howdy. How y'all doing? Well, I want to thank you all. We want to continue the conversation about the importance of voting. You all know this, and I preach it every day. I sometimes feel as though I'm preaching to the choir, and I know you all have such a wide and varied membership. The second question we want to know is, what are you doing to activate your members and encourage your friends in key races around the country? And you all are showing a variety of places there that you represent. So let's start with you, Elsie Cook Holmes, and what are you doing to activate your members and encourage your friends in the key races? And there are many. You and I certainly know that in the state of Texas, but certainly there are others that we are keeping our eyes on as well.
There are many, as you pointed out. But we are very civically engaged in terms of Delta Sigma Theta members, as we have been since our founding. Our areas are really focused around our 4 tenets of voter registration, first of all, voter education, voter mobilization, as well as voter protection. So we have been engaging our members through a series of webinars as we lead up to this very, very important 2022 midterm election. And so we have been engaging our members through a series of webinars, really focused on that very important voter education, so they can be educated as well as take the information out to their membership. Not only be educated on the issues, which we know all too well, and you all talked about in the last segment, but to also educate on voting rights.
Yes.
The importance of making sure that rights are that our right to vote is maintained, is protected, and that each member and the community at large each knows their right to vote. So not to be turned back and to be able to really be able to vote. So as I said, we had this series of webinars, and leading up to the very last one is on Election Day Eve, November 7th, where it's going to be a Get Out the Vote pep rally.
Nice.
We've had speakers to come in. We are partnered and we partner very closely with several organizations. This year we have a partnership with the League of Women Voters. We have a partner, and it's really around that education and protection partnership with the National Coalition of Black Civic Participation, Own Your Vote. And certainly across the D9, we collaborate because there's really power in our collective numbers.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to mention one other thing.
Sure.
That in Delta Sigma Theta, the last 2 years ago, we actually started a C4 organization for Women in Action. And so that organization is a separate organization, but we partner very closely with it, so that is our opportunity for our individual members and D4 as an organization to actually support candidates who are running to vote and to actually endorse candidates. So our individual members can actually really support those very key elections, as you mentioned, not only in the state of Texas, but we know very much in the state of Georgia, in the state of Florida, in the state of North Carolina,
yes, ma'am,
in the state of Nevada, and the state of—
You can keep going. You can just keep going.
We know that there are some very, very critical ones, and we are able to expand our support through D4 Women in Action.
And I was going to say that on Capitol Hill, we know the power of the red voter. A number of outstanding women in the United States Congress who represent your wonderful organization, and the days that all of you all come to Capitol Hill and you lobby and you talk with and you have conversations and you engage with other members of Congress and talk about those interests of yours and of your membership.
Absolutely. And that is something that we do year after year. We're about to embark upon our 34th year of Delta Days at the nation's capital. We always have it in the spring, but it really does catapult and engage our membership to really focus on this, not only in the months leading up to the election cycle, but really year round. To
Absolutely.
Be civically engaged year round. And so thank you for bringing that up, because that is very key. And we certainly work very closely with our Congress women who are currently serving. They'll hopefully be joined by several others once this election happens on November 8th. And a former congressperson we work very closely with is our Secretary of Housing and Urban.
That's right, Marcia Fudge. Yeah.
Fudge, and also a past president. So yes,
we
do what we can to engage, and we go beyond our walls. Obviously, we activate our membership so that they can really go out into the communities we serve.
That's awesome.
Again, this election is critical. We cannot leave any stone unturned to make
no vote, no stone, no nothing.
Through our votes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wonderfully said. Let's turn to you, Grand Basilisk Ricky Lewis of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. What about you? How might you answer the question? What are you doing to activate your members and encourage your friends in key races around the country?
Yes, sir. But just as Madam President Cook Holmes talked about, we're energized. Omega Psi Phi has been on the boots on the ground since our founding in terms of what we're doing, getting folks out to vote. We're utilizing our congressmen as well. Jim Clyburn, a member of our fraternity in South Carolina. Hank Johnson, a member of our fraternity in Georgia,
Yeah.
and Kwesi Mfume, a member of our fraternity in Maryland. So we all hands on deck. Our 4 pillars are: 1, voter registration, education, and mobilization. Those 4, and of course, get out to vote. We're pounding the pavement, trying to get folks to get out. We're going places that most folks don't want to go, to the housing projects, to the barbershops at night, walking the streets at night, encouraging particularly Black men to get out and vote. That's really critical as we look around the country in terms of these votes. For some reason, Black men may want to sit this one out, and we're pounding the pavement really, really hard. And lastly, we utilize the needs of Omega men on the radio. Steve Harvey is a member of our fraternity. Ricky Smiley, as you know, member of our fraternity.
Sure.
And Brother D.L. Hughley is a member of our fraternity, asking those brothers to do everything they can as well. So we're energizing folks everywhere we can go.
Well, I can't say that I hate to go to the barbershop. I think some of the greatest conversations are right there. And so I don't know if you need a woman to go and hang out with you guys, but I'm here because
Yes,
I think that the conversations they're unguarded and they're real,
right.
and we
They're authentic.
know. You will all of us know how important it is for our young Black people to get involved, and for Black men. That is key.
Absolutely.
And you're going after
Absolutely.
them in a way to show how their vote really counts. And I hope
Absolutely. And we're going after, we may have lost, have we lost President Lonzo? He'll probably be back. But let me just say this piece and I'll yield back to Madam President. And we're going after the young men. We got young men in our mentoring program who just turned 18.
Right.
Who can vote now. So we're encouraging them to vote as well. So it's just really all hands on deck, catching the young guys who really not engaged, catching the older guys who don't feel like they should be engaged.
Or may not be in the barbershop for long.
May not be in the barbershop. Right. So all hands on deck. Look like we have President Lonzo back.
We do. Thank you, sir, so much for that, Grand Basileus Ricky Lewis. And Dr. Willis Lonzer, General President of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity. I know that you are busy there, but we do want to get your intake and your input on what you're doing to activate your members as well as your friends and encourage them in the key races. And as President Cook Holmes mentioned, a number of states that we all have great interest in.
Absolutely. I'm glad to be a part here today, Sybil. Alpha Phi Alpha has been very much a leader, along with the other Divine Nine organizations as they came into their existence. But we started it off back in 1906. But one of the things that we have been a long purporter of is that a voteless people is a hopeless people. Since 1930, that's been a formal campaign for the fraternity. And we utilize this bully pulpit for voter empowerment and voter education. I echo the sentiments of National President Holmes and Grand Basileus Lewis that we have also been very engaged in webinars, seminars, but this has some personal stakes for us. Raphael Warnock. Dr. Warnock is an alpha. He is a member of our fraternity, and he's in the fight for his life in Georgia. We stepped in when he came into there to add on to the synergies of all the Divine Nine. That was a victory for all of us.
Sure.
We're fighting hard there in Georgia and North Carolina, where we know that the Alpha Kappa Alpha member and former judge and Supreme Court justice, I should say, who's now vying for a position, but we see it happening. I live in Chicago, even though I'm in warm and sunny Los Angeles right now. But we know even in Wisconsin, we have an African American who's the lieutenant governor who's
Mandela Barnes,
as well. But the stakes are high everywhere. We have been talking and utilizing, much like President Cook Holmes said, webinars, seminars, talking to our members and leaders about what we need to do to empower the community, in addition to what we have already established as a program. Much like the Omegas do, we go to the places where folks don't want us to go. We'll go to the projects. We're in the barbershop. Right. Even I'm going to the barbershop and I don't really need to go anymore. When I go into the barbershop, I'm there to have a great conversation and talk to these young people about the importance, Black men in particular, that we can't sit on the sideline anymore.
That's right.
We have to stand with the ladies. The Black women have been doing an outstanding job in making sure that they are politically engaged, and we have things to do. We, as the Divine Nine fraternities, the 5 fraternities, for the first time held our first National Legislative Day on the Hill this past summer. that will be a repeating thing that we're going
Nice.
to do, because
Right.
we recognize, unlike the ladies and the Deltas and the Alpha Kappa Alpha ladies have been excellent, how they come out and they in grandeur and show their political input.
That's right.
But we recognize as men that we have a unique opportunity. We have to show Black men that we're united. Even though we may be under different colors, I know Grand Basilisk Lewis and International President Ray, the Grand Polaris of Iota Phi Theta, and Grand Pole Mark Shelton, and the Alphas, we're aligned. We are so much alike that the only thing that differentiates us is our color, and maybe they hop and we might stroll as brothers. All of those things being said, it's important that we understand that the community sees us and they're looking to us for leadership. Black men are looking to us for leadership. And we are looking for ways to partner even with other organizations. I'm a member of Prince Hall Masons, for example. I'm a member of the Boule, Sigma Pi Phi fraternity. We're working together. We're trying to find ways to create synergies. And I know that the stakes are high. We're talking to friends of ours, even our own brothers who may have sometimes slightly different political stances, and talking about real talk things.
That's
Although, you know, you may have a personal religious belief, we need to understand what's on the line here. Reproductive rights and the fact that a person should be able to choose, and that how even in the name of religion, some things have been done that have been just catastrophic in the name of religion, and it didn't need it to be done. So we have to separate the wheat from the chaff. We need to be honest with each other, have some concrete discussions. We're linking up arms with our freighters in the other fraternities and saying that we are linked and standing together, and we're holding hands with all 9 organizations to get things done. And I think it's been very effective thus far.
Well, I can see where Reverend Raphael Warnock gets his preaching skills from.
He got it. He got it. Yeah, he got it.
I'm gonna look. I just get up from Bedside Baptist in these COVID times and go to church. But
that's right. That's right.
I'm
well, you know what? Where 2 or more are gathered, and we got 4 right here. We're with you, sir. Before I let you all go, if you have time, we'd love to hear about your motivational songs, those songs that get you up and moving. You don't have to go spiritual, Dr. Lonzo.
I wasn't going to go there. I was going to go back. I was going to go back to our time in the 90s. But so what you're saying from EPMD?
Come on now!
Don't play. I'm telling you, we got to get up there and say, let's put some money where our mouths are and get it done. So what you're saying?
Come on, what you saying? You saying a lot. Thank you so much.
Let me go with mine, and I'll leave Madam President. Mine is rising to the top.
Oh,
rising to the top. Right.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And President Elsie Cook Holmes of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, which is a mouthful. How about you? What's your motivational song?
I actually have a couple. You mentioned one of them already, but it still is my song. Ain't no stopping us now.
Ain't no stopping us now.
That is how I feel, and that is if we stick together, we can bring this home, and ain't no stopping us now. But then those civil rights songs motivate me too. And don't let nobody turn me around.
Oh yeah,
right.
Oh yeah.
That our mothers and forefathers did. The music of the movement really still motivates me.
I absolutely love that.
Coming, but I know a change is going to come.
Yes. See, he's preaching
That's
again.
Right. Okay, there he is. There he is. You're going to get a great speech and a prayer. I know that with Dr. Lonzo now. Thank you all so much.
We appreciate you.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
It's been such a pleasure.
The pleasure has been mine. I appreciate all that you all do. Continue to do the great work.
Thank you. Take care.
We are continuing our conversation here on It's Sybil with members, presidents of the Divine Nine. And Pastor Lanzer. They're leaving us, and we are going to be joined now by two more presidents and heads of the Divine Nine, sorority and fraternity. And we will conclude with our conversation with them. And this includes International Grand Basilisk Rashida Liberty of Sigma Gamma Rho sorority and chair of the Council of Presidents. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. And certainly, and not least at all, he is the first among all of these men, the Honorable Chris Ray, National President of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. It's great to see you both again. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Some big shoes to fill here as we're having a great conversation. You know, as we've mentioned here on It's Sybil, we love to inform and empower people. Voting is a passion of mine and being politically involved. I'm from Chicago, so we know how to vote early and often. And so often meaning every chance we get that we are legally able to vote. I just want to make that very clear. But I do want to close out this conversation with conversation with the two of you. What can we do to keep our voters engaged, motivated, and inspired? Let's start with you, President Liberty, and talk about this motivation, engagement, and inspiration.
Yeah, I have to say engagement, I think, is really demonstrating the value proposition for voting. And as we think about some of our younger voters, we have to explain to them why it does matter to them. So what things are on the ballot and making it really hit home. Health equity is on the ballot. Human and equal rights are on the ballot. Economic equity, which is very important for those young entrepreneurs that are looking to start their businesses and wondering where do we get sources of funds and resources from.
Right.
These are the things that really are going to engage them. And I think also from a motivation standpoint, I don't know about everyone else, but I'm always motivated when people underestimate me.
Okay.
So
Okay. I like that.
I stated before, being underestimated is one of the most powerful and competitive advantages that our communities have, because when we show up, we make a difference. And so
That's
really
right.
creating that competitive advantage out there. And I had to think about the equity in just the process about voting specifically in those battleground states. And I always list them in my head because they don't really change. And that's the problem, right?
Yep.
I'm here in Texas. I'm in Houston. Texas is, a little interesting.
That's a good word to describe it.
Like that. But you think of Georgia, Florida, Wisconsin, which is my home state, Ohio, Pennsylvania. We have to be the difference makers. And motivation is really about improving those situations in those communities. And I had to steal this from my brother, Chris Ray, brother John Lewis. One of the statements that he always made is that, your most powerful nonviolent weapon is your vote.
Yes.
And so we have to encourage people that the fight is really in what you can do in exercising your voting power. And I'll leave it there and turn it over to Brother Ray.
But the fight is real, though, isn't it? It really is. It really is.
And I think of our sorority, right? We are in our 100 years and celebrating our centennial year. And I think really reflecting upon our founders and really their vision. And one of the things that's very important for us is that, and we can't move away from that core from 1922, and even beyond that for the other sororities and fraternities, women's rights and protection of children. When you think of those things, a lot of our issues really surround women, children, who really are the future of this country.
That is awesome. That is awesome. President Ray, let's talk to you. It's good to see you again, by the way. We did an interview not too long ago together with the Black Press Association, and a wonderful opportunity to talk to you. Again, what can we do to keep our voters engaged, motivated, and inspired? How are you guys doing there?
So, first of all, thank you as always for having us and allowing us to use our voices and our organizations to amplify this work, especially around voting. But President Liberty hit it on the head. There is one of the great things about our organizations is that we're multi-generational. And so that means that you have different individuals at different stages that are going to be motivated for different reasons.
Right.
And so I may have an older brother who came through a generation where he understood that registering to vote was everything, because they understood that they didn't have that access. They understood that they didn't have that. While you may have younger generations now that is like, it's not only just about registering to vote, but now I'm ready to see results, right? I'm ready to see action taking place. And so,
that's right.
And so a part of what we do in Phi Beta Sigma, and I've seen it in my partner organizations, is us making sure that we recognize the power of the generations of our members, and making sure that when we're talking about voter registration, or we're talking about voter education, or we're talking about voter mobilization, that we're using all the tools that are out there, that we're partnering with other organizations. One of the things that we are very mindful of is that our fraternities and sororities are not political organizations.
Right.
We're not political organizations, but we understand the power of us exercising our right to vote, right? And so we will not allow that voice to be taken away,
right,
because we may not be set up as a political organization. We're still citizens in this country. We still have to make sure that our voices are heard, and we are just fortunate to just have the reach of over 2 million people to make sure that they have access to that. And that's what makes that. And if that's not motivating enough to know that you are a part of an entity of individuals that can literally sway an entire election, and not only just at the national level, right? All of us have members that are running for office at the local level, at the state level, at the federal level. And so we are so engaged at every single point. And so I would always say to our members, make sure that you just join a campaign, be a part of an organization that's knocking on doors, right? It changes your life when you knock on a door and a person answers and they're telling you that, they're not interested in voting because, I'm living in this same circumstance, but hopefully now you have information from that candidate or from that political action that you're trying to take, that ballot issue, and you're trying to say, hey, your vote matters now because it's going to bring sidewalks to your community.
That's right.
And so getting involved at that level, it not only changes you as an individual citizen, but it changes that voter. That person may have said, you know what, I'm throwing up my hands. It ain't worth it. And maybe them hearing something a little bit different and saying, you know what, okay, I'm gonna give it one more try. That's what's motivating. That's why we keep on doing what we're doing. And we've been all doing it now for 100 years.
Yeah. And well done. And well done. Absolutely. And I want to talk to you about your younger members, because we are talking about the gap that is there, or at least we've been told that there is a gap and struggling in these midterm elections. Is there something that you, because I think you've hit upon that point, President Ray, in terms of getting people involved and making them know that their involvement, what a difference it can make. Are you all talking to your young people, especially about that, President Liberty?
Yes. So we have a second vice president that is our highest ranking undergraduate member. She was just recently elected in July, Samaria Robinson, in the Georgia area.
Nice.
And we took her to the Congressional Black Caucus this year and took her with us into all those sessions. And she came to us and said, I got a plan for the undergraduates.
Oh, awesome.
We're going to do a stroll to the polls, our own stroll to the polls.
There you go.
The younger generation, and we're going to support the Georgia initiatives. And Lord knows our mind is on Georgia. So we definitely supported her in that effort. And we're actually going to do some images and recordings with some of our undergraduates to really push it on social media, because they're not reading Facebook.
No,
they're not reading our emails. They're not joining the webinars. They're on TikTok.
They're going through their
7-second reels, right?
Right.
That's all you got. So we thought about a challenge, because there are TikTok challenges all across the country. What is a great TikTok challenge for the Divine Nine undergraduates to show that they're getting out to vote? We also talked about the ability to make a little extra money by working.
Okay. So you're talking their language.
So, how do you get a little money? And then also, because some of them are away from home, the power of the absentee ballot, or using early voting during fall break so that they can go and cast their vote in their home cities. So So there's some strategies that we have put forward for our undergraduates and really working with our undergraduate leaders in our regions, but more importantly, the second vice president, Samari Robinson, leading that charge.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And President Ray, you just were an undergraduate, I know. So you can really identify with this.
First of all, I got to say, don't let Rashida fool you. I mean, so one of the great things about our organizations and that I get along so well with President Liberty is that we literally grew up in the leadership of our organizations, right? So, we had the opportunity to serve as collegiate leaders in our organization, and then went on to whole regional and now national offices. And so we are literally a reflection of what happens when you literally invest in young people, right? Yes. It has happened, and now we are now serving in these roles because the Sigmas before us, and we can say that on this one, Sigmas before us, on both sides, invested in young people. And so us being in these roles now, we're making sure that we do the same thing. Just like they brought their undergraduate leader to CBC, we brought ours as well, right? Because it makes a difference. And Maxwell McDaniel, said, "Hey, brother president, here goes our plan. These are the things that we're going to be doing," because we know that they have that capacity. Again, we're multi-generational organizations. That's so your messaging has to fit the generations, right? What motivates me in my 40s is not going to motivate my 19 and 20-year-old Sigmas. That's not going to motivate my 90-year-old Sigmas, right? So we recognize that, developing strategies that are going to allow for us to hit the entire electorate. That's what makes this so amazing. And then it's exponential when we take these strategies and then we take them to the communities. That's what makes the secret sauce of being in these Divine Nine organizations so powerful. It's not just our members that we're impacting, right? It's literally the overflow that we're having with our communities. People who are literally saying, one of the strategies we have is not just calling to say, "Hey, are you going to vote?" It is, "Hey, not only are you going to vote, do you know where your polling place is?"
Right.
That's right.
What's your plan?
What's your plan? How are you going to get there? Just those little statements make all the difference in somebody saying, "You know what, I didn't really even think about going. I don't even know where." Well, you know what? Here goes a website. That's what makes us in these roles so important for our communities, because we're plugged in, right? We are plugged in on a daily basis. We're watching the policies. We're on with the secretaries. We're at the White House. We're at Capitol Hill. So we have a responsibility to take this information back to our communities for those that will never have the opportunity to sit in the seats and in the rooms that we do.
That's right.
That's why folks marched the way that they did. That's why individuals have been striving and struggling for so long, is to make sure that we use these opportunities for the best of our ability, and that we take it back to the communities that we're serving.
Well, you're doing a great job. Thank you so much for sharing your vision, your experiences, and giving a shout out to your youngins there who are doing great things in your organization. Before I let you all go, and thank you once again, I would like to know, what are those songs that motivate you, that get you going as you are on pace and on par to make a difference in this election, in which they say is surprising a lot of people, but we want to keep surprising them and encouraging folks. What encourages you? What's your song or songs of choice?
Oh boy. Now Brother Shelton said that he saw my playlist, and I probably shouldn't quote any songs.
No. I've seen her playlist as well.
I do like trap music. Okay, so
that being said, from Houston, okay.
When I think about people not keeping the momentum from 2020 to 2022, I think of "Turn Down for What" by Little Bit. So what we turn down for? This is time to turn up. So I'm asking my members and all of the Divine Nine in our communities that it's time to turn up. What we turn it down for? Turn down for what?
Turn down for. I like that.
Turn down for one. I like that. All right, it's on you, President Ray.
She said to slip a little thug in there. I tell you, she said, oh my God. So I got two, right? I'm gonna go back old school, because this actually I use this a lot in as I speak across the country. You know, I love Aretha Franklin. You know, and I always like to, you know, you got to think, man. You know,
Okay.
you got to think. I mean, I want folks to understand that this isn't, you got to use what's up here in order for us to impact what's going on in our communities. I need you to think, you know, and last and certainly not least, you know, I'm gonna keep it old school as well. The Temptations, there's a new generation of us coming that we are engaged, we're involved, and we're serious. And so I'm like, get ready.
Get ready.
Here we
Think
come.
and get ready. I like it.
Here we come. We are not playing no games. We are making sure that we hold up that banner for our ancestors and making sure that we lay the pathwork and the groundwork for, you know, the next generation. Right. So get ready.
Well, you all have really inspired me. I'm amped up. I'm ready to go. I'm ready. I'm thinking. I'm you know, and turned up for you know what, and ready to do all this. I want to thank you all so much for being a part of this. President Liberty for making this happen. We also want to thank Donna Jones Anderson, president of the Pan Atlantic Council, for helping us put this together as well. We also like to give a shout out to the leaders of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated and Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated. We're sorry that we missed you, but we invite you to come back and to join us at another time and have an opportunity to have great conversation. For those who are watching, please let us make sure that we get out to vote, that we have a plan, that we encourage everyone in our homes, in our communities to get out there and make a difference. You really can. Your vote does matter. And you're going to see the outcome of all of this well, it might not be November 9th, but you will see it very soon. I think that the early numbers have indicated that folks are going to get out there and we're going to make a difference. And these fine people have made a difference. So International Grand Basilisk Rashida Liberty of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, as well as chair of the Council of Presidents, thank you so much. We want to thank the Honorable Chris Ray, who is the international president as well. I'm trying to run through all of these names. And that is Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, as well as Elsie Cook Holmes, the national president of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, Stacy Grant, Dr. Stacy Grant, Grand Basilisk of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, and Mr. Ricky Lewis, Grand Basilisk Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Tom Jordan said, what up? And to Ruben Shelton, the Grand Polemark of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity and senior member of the Council of Presidents, Dr. Willis Lonser III, General President of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity and Vice Chair of the Council of Presidents. Thank you all so much. I hope you will come back again and we'll be able to discuss and talk about the benefits of your great work. And I appreciate your opportunities to work with you. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for getting out there and being part of this conversation, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget, no matter what anybody tells you, November 8th is the last day you can vote. Get out there, let's make it happen, and let's make a difference. Thanks for joining us.